Hi, I'm Duncan Riak. I've made some videos recently about not taking things personally and about how 100% of other people's suffering and reactions are their responsibility. You know, I try to live by that.
Almost got a Duncan.
Recently, I've been experiencing some challenges around that where with my wife, but also with a relative and with a friend, where I got into interactions with these people and they behaved in such a way it seemed like to make sure I understood that I should take whatever was happening personally. And so I found that, for example, in couples therapy, I reached a limit where I couldn't take it anymore and I spoke loudly and aggressively and was defensive. I left the therapy session. I walked out to get space and to protect myself. And I know not to take things personally, but sometimes it's very difficult to actually not take things personally. So my couples therapist said that I needed to go and work individually on how I take things personally. So I went to see an NLP practitioner. On the way there, I was thinking about how narcissistic it is to take things personally. When I think that someone's actions or behavior, even if they're actually literally calling me names or referencing things I've done or very specifically attempting to make it personal about me and prove that I'm to blame for the way they're feeling or whatever, it's incredibly narcissistic to believe that somehow I'm capable of affecting people's emotions, believing that other people's behavior is about me, that somehow I can control people's behavior, that somehow they're doing that because of something that I am or something that I have done. So I got into this kind of self-flagellation mode of how fucking narcissistic is it to believe that it's about me, that I'm responsible for their emotions and for their actions. So I had a really quick 1 hour session, and during that time she does what she does really well, which is to observe me, ask me questions and notice how I suffer, to guide me into having a different way of experiencing life. She helped me to discover that I had some really key traumas from when I was really little, where I was really severely beaten and physically abused. And when I visited those, I had a whole framework around those, that I felt guilty, I felt ashamed, I felt embarrassed, I felt responsible. I felt that somehow I had caused that to happen. I was taking these beatings personally, that this said something about me. You know, I've done work on many different traumas, including these particular traumas before, but she was able to really get me into a place where I could experience the full effect of the trauma, but at the same time be able to bring an enormous amount of resources into that experience. And I was able to experience the people who were harming me were actually not, it wasn't about me at all. They were suffering, they were confused, they were regressed. In fact, the person who was beating me was essentially a baby. And so if you take a baby and you put them into an adult body and you give them weapons and then they have a tantrum, that's not going to work out very well. I actually came to a point where I could see and experience that these are children and that it's really nothing to do with me. It actually isn't anything to do with me. And I had a massive shift. I spent probably half of that session sobbing, and I probably spent half of that session laughing, really intensely laughing, remembering those traumas and having a completely different experience about them. I don't know yet how this is going to affect me. I haven't had a chance yet to experience really intense, actually I guess I did this morning a little bit. I was going to say I haven't had a chance really to experience intense negative behavior directed towards me, or words or actions, and see whether or not I take it personally. And I have a little bit. This morning I had an interaction that came in that was designed to push my buttons and to cause me to react in a certain way and to cause me to behave in a way that the person doing it has experienced me before, getting me to behave in certain ways because of my reactivity to those kind of behaviors. And I just got this particular message, and I get where that's coming from. I understand what that's about, and I don't actually even have to respond to it. I don't have to take it personally because it isn't about me. So there's a relaxing. The thing with the traumas was I was beaten for things that I didn't even know why I was being beaten until much later when I discovered what that was about. And also there were other instances where I did something that was completely okay, like feeling angry or having an accident, breaking something. And even in that case, that doesn't deserve a beating. In California law, what crime has a punishment of being beaten like that? There isn't one. There's no crime you can do where they're going to sentence you to a beating. So that brings in the humor of it and the craziness of it. This is completely ridiculous. This is just an understanding of why I would be very sensitive to people misunderstanding me or attacking me. I have a problem with taking it personally when people attack me, and I realized that the people who were attacking me when I was a child, that were really injuring me as a child, they themselves were doing that because they were taking something else personally. So they were passing on this habit of, oh, you have to really take things personally. You have to reactively take what goes on in the world personally. See you soon.